Hi, I'm Mario Guerra, the two-time mayor of the great city of Downey, and I'm here with my co-host and my partner in crime, Eric Pierce, the editor of the Downey Patriot. And you're listening to Talking Downey with Mario
and Eric. How are you, Mario?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good,
How are you?
Good. You know, we just, I don't know when this is going to publish, but we just came back from the Downey Chamber installation, their annual installation.
Yes.
It's like 150 years.
Yeah.
That's what Michael Calvert, the director of the chamber, he says 150 years. I don't know if he was exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah.
But maybe he wasn't.
And what was the thing? And the Patriot's been a forever, too, kind of thing. He mentioned that he was joking a little bit on the time, but it was a long time with Jennifer Decay and everything
else. Has been, yeah. And so, but no, it was actually a good event. This is an annual installation when the chamber, it's run by a board of directors.
Yes.
So every year there's a new president. There's a new board that comes on. They kind of rotate around. And so lots of awards for the outgoing members, and you kind of swear in the new president. New president, Daniel Andrade. Do you know Daniel?
I only know him cursory. I think he's a realtor.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
He spoke very eloquently and so forth, so I think it was nice.
Yeah, I think so too.
I know.
No, it was a good event. A couple of long speeches, but it was good. I noticed, Mario, that you weren't introduced as you're a two-time former mayor of the great city of Downey, and you were not introduced.
I'm just a has-been. I think Rick Rodriguez wasn't introduced either.
He wasn't introduced.
As two of us former mayors, we kind of look at each just laughing. It's okay. We're has-beens in their mind, and I'm good with that.
I just like to needle you.
I know. As long as my wife knows who I am, most of the time I'm good.
And our listeners know that you're former two-time mayor.
Thank you so much for our listeners and for you.
Of the great city of Downey.
But yeah, it was a little weird, but it's all good. So.
Today we're recapping Downey City Council. There was a city council meeting on Tuesday. On its face, it didn't seem like it was a big council meeting, but actually it was, because they approved a budget, which is huge, $115 million.
It is, yeah.
And that's what pays the bills, and that's looking at the budget. We know what is going to be happening in the city for the next fiscal year. I want to ask you, Mario, because you've done 8 city budgets. How much work goes into the budget? But more specifically, if you have like a pet project that you want included in the city, how do you get that in there? Is it political? Is it kind of streamlined?
It's a combination of both. Okay, so what happens is there's a process. I mean, this was the last meeting in June is always when it's done, because it starts July 1st. But it really starts off in February and then in March. And then you do have a big meeting where things are presented to the council. I mean, it's usually a special besides a council meeting. It's open to the public, of course. And it also has a lot to do with the budget subcommittee. Budget subcommittee has huge powers in there. It's got to be approved by the entire council. But I was on there for 8 years, so you have a working relationship with the finance people. But basically, a little bit is political. Council members make known what their pet projects or things that they want to move forward. And then the city manager kind of plays around with it, massages it. So there shouldn't have been, and there wasn't any surprises when they comes up. There's the things that the council was lobbied in the last couple of weeks. I know that I saw some things and some emails and stuff that were public that, they were being lobbied by other groups for more money and things like that.
Yeah.
But overall, it is a process. Each council member does have an opportunity to have an influence on it, but you don't know which parts they were because they got approved overall. But if you watch, you got to watch 3 months worth and see what the projects were.
What were some of the things that you pushed when you were on that council? Maybe the public doesn't know.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you the downtown stuff was always that way. I pushed for beautification. I pushed for doing those power boxes. We did 40 of them during my time. Little things. That wasn't a lot of money. It was $40,000-$50,000 here and there, which adds up. The big thing is you have a budget number to influence the community groups and how you appropriate the community development block money. So that was kind of an influencing.
Right.
It's funny is because when you first come on, every council member, the good city managers like Jerry Caden, he was 2 city managers ago, and he had been there for so long. but he, you come on the council, and it's almost like he does something for you, like what do you want done? And then it's almost like he gives you this favor. He makes it seem, and then he comes back to you, and later on, it's like he's got something on you. Not got something on you, but he did you a favor.
Sure.
So when I came on board, one of the first things that now I look back and I laugh, but it was legitimate. The police department did not have a fence around their cars where they parked their cars. So I had been chaplain before already for the police department. So I used to always ask all the officers I rode along with, if you were king of Downey and money was no object, what would you do for the city and the police department? And almost one of the top three things was always, I'd put a fence around where we park our cars because we get off at 2 a.m. sometimes, and there's bad
wide
people.
open.
Yeah, some of them had been scratched their cars or this and that. So that was one of my things when I came on. I go, Jerry, I want to have a fence put on about there. Right. So that got done right away. Yeah. And it's so funny is to me, I didn't understand the process or what did. But later on, I realized that, he just took it out of the general funds, bought this fence. Yeah. And then it was like, okay, Mario, I did one of your wishes. And, when you get more experience, you wish you should have wished for something bigger. Yeah. Sure. But that was mine. I remember one of the council members wanted a brick wall on the corner of Lakewood and Imperial. There's a mobile home park to kind of divide it. So that was, you look back and you laugh. That was the city manager giving him, here's your favor. Okay, welcome aboard. Don't fire me.
Right.
Kind of stuff. Yeah. So.
Interesting. So I'm reading this article from Alex Dominguez in the Downey Patriot about this year's budget, or 23-24. And he's writing that the budget includes staffing for new positions, or maybe not new positions, but positions that were maybe vacated, in the last couple of years, including, there's funding for an economic development director, because we lost him. I'm surprised that wasn't already budgeted. But interesting, there's a homelessness solutions manager and and code enforcement. There's more, and we talked about this briefly, but there's more code enforcement, specifically, I think, related to businesses, I think. That was kind of interesting, too.
It is interesting on there. I mean, code enforcement used to be in the police department, then it got moved during my administrations on there into economic development. And I think we've gone away from code enforcement the last couple of years when, because of the pandemic. Yeah. And especially when it comes to business. You see a lot of businesses out there. I mean, we always, businesses suffered so much, so you have a lot of empathy for them. Right. But it was even brought up at the council meeting about, businesses, the lighting and the crazy lighting on some of them. Right. It's just been the wild, wild west. So I think they're trying to rein it in a little bit, which might be a good thing. Right. So, and, code enforcement is always kind of funny too, because it always goes based on if there's a certain percentage of them that are proactive for the code enforcement officers, but some of it has to be on referrals. So what happens is somebody goes to your, tells on you on your house, and the code enforcement goes out there, hey, you built this illegal, roof on this thing and so forth. And you say, well, no, hey, Mario down the street has the same exact thing on there. So now they have to go check out Mario's illegal screen, and so it just continues to go down the line like that. So it's kind of interesting, how it works.
There's also increases to the Downey Police and Fire budgets, it happens every year. It gets more expensive.
Overall, it was like 5% between the two of them on there. So
there's also about $300,000 increase to SIACA. And I think that overall budget, is shared between different cities.
Yeah, that one, to be honest with you, that surprised me a little bit. That seemed a little high.
It seems high.
It's not that big portion of the budget, so percentage-wise, $300,000 was a lot.
It seems kind of high. It does. And also, a little off topic, but I do wish SIACA, when I was running for city council, one of my goals was to hopefully make SIACA a no-kill shelter, and there's been protests over at SIACA about people upset with the number of animals that are put down. And I know there's two sides to every story, but I do wish SIACA was a no-kill shelter, like so many others are becoming right now.
And what's contradictory to SIACA is because you want people to adopt pets and animals, but then they're not open that often.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
their
yeah.
hours are very limited. So maybe this 300,000 is to open up more.
Yeah.
Hopefully, because you can save animals by being more accessible to adoption.
Absolutely.
You know, so that was a big
Because
deal.
it's one of those things where you can't really see it online.
Yeah.
It's not the same. When you're adopting, you got to see the animal in person, I feel like. You know.
So, Eric, the biggest portion of this budget, and it's 62% of the budget, is on the police and fire. I believe 43 million and so was police department, 27 million on the fire department. So 62% sounds like a high number, and it is.
It is, yeah.
But one of the things we're proudest of is the independence of the city of Downey having its own police and its own fire.
Right.
And so that was about a 5% increase. And I'll tell you, we get a lot bang for our buck. You know, so you could save cost and money and so forth here and there and nickel and dime it on there, but I'd rather have it and spent on our public safety, and you know, and I'm comfortable with that.
I agree. You know, there's other cities that pay far less for their law enforcement, but it's because they don't have their own police department,
Right.
and they contract with the sheriff's department. 100% would rather have the police department, the Downey Police, than the LA County Sheriff's Department.
Right.
No, there's no question. It's not just that it's a better department. You have better oversight. You have control over it. If there's something that you don't like within your police department, you can actually take care of it. You have your police chief who's being held accountable.
Absolutely.
And beyond that, you have your mayor, you have your council members who are held accountable.
Right.
I've seen so many other cities who struggle with the sheriff's department, but there's nothing they can do.
Right.
They're
Well,
assigned captains.
We know that in Norwalk. I think last year they had some issues with LA County where they wrote, you know, and we're trying to, hey, we want more action on this, and you're not helping us. kind of thing.
And I laughed a little bit because they were unhappy, and the council discussed it. And their decision was to write a strongly worded letter to the LA County Sheriff's Department. Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
You know, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And I think residents of Downey are happy to pay a premium to have their own police and fire.
No,
It's a great thing.
I always will. I will always. You know, right now, if the council's upset because they're getting too many issues from from the residents on there, council tells one person, the city manager,
Right.
and the city manager comes down on Chief Leslie or on Chief Dan on there. So that's it. It's that chain of command, that simple
Absolutely.
on there, that both chiefs report to one person who then reports to the city council.
And as a resident, if you have an issue and you want to talk to the police chief or the fire chief, they're both very accessible.
Very much
I
so.
see them at events, and they have public
Yeah.
coffees or whatever. So it's a benefit to being here in Downey.
Very much so. Very much so. So, anyways, one thing that stood out, city has about 33 million in reserves.
Okay.
That's a good number.
How does that compare to previous?
It's less than on there. When I left on there, and that was my record year. I don't take the credit for it completely. I was part of that process, but 41% of our general funds was in reserve.
Yeah.
So we had a big number on there.
Yeah.
So they've been using certain amount. I mean, the pandemic actually didn't take away as much as you would have thought because the federal government helped them so much. There's some cities like Long Beach that just announced that, obviously they have a balanced budget, but next year they're going to be 30 some odd million short because all this pandemic money.
Yeah.
This is the last year they're getting it. So I'm not sure of the percentage for the city of Downey, but that's a fair number.
Yeah.
That's a good number, and I'm comfortable with it being
Yeah.
a fiscal, moderate, conservative type on there. So
as
I'm
long
good
as
with
it stays there, right?
as long as it stays there.
because
So-
it is used for its purpose, which is for
Right.
emergencies
Right.
and rainy
The
days.
one thing, the times were in our basic rule used to be, I remember Dr. Brosmer and myself and so forth, our basic rule on the council was once in a while, depending on the situation, to use it for one-time expenses.
Yeah.
Never to use it for ongoing expenses. The one year that we had really bad situation was, 2008, and
Yeah.
you had the whole recession going on,
Right.
and we had to take a fire engine out for almost
Right.
a year. So we did borrow some on there, $1 million out of reserves. As soon as we could, we put it back in.
Yeah.
So those kind of things.
Yeah,
Makes
yeah.
common sense. So.
What else happened in City Council?
Well, it was interesting. Some people called to action to our residents to get more involved, and especially they talked about FatherCon and about father figures because they just talked. We just had Father's Day recently, and Am I boring you?
No, it's been.
It's
I have a baby at home,
Oh.
and she has a different clock,
Yes.
and she doesn't really consult with me.
She's
on,
getting really
on
cute. By the
schedule.
way.
Thank you.
Not that she wasn't cute.
Thank
but
you.
She's cute.
She's getting
Yeah,
cuter. She's
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
cuter.
yeah. Cuter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that is out there.
She was up actually this morning at 2 and then at 4 for feeding. And she's wide awake too.
Oh.
She's not she doesn't wake up, kind of groggy. She's wide awake.
And she
looking
wants to
around.
play.
She wants to play.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
anyways, so going back, this week was the first week of 8 weeks for the concerts in the park.
Yeah.
I know those are always well attended on there.
I miss your jokes.
Yeah.
Even though they were corny, they were corny, and then I think you repeated a couple times, but we don't have jokes anymore. We don't.
I volunteer my services on there. It's funny because my church also now expects my dad jokes, and several people bought me stupid dad joke books, so the one-liners, and Father Tony's my pastor, he's always going back and forth for that, for the jokes and stuff. So they talked about staying on the budget. They talked about funding for nonprofits in the city.
Yeah.
One of the things that came up, and I think Mayor Frometta brought it up, was about funding the Rose Float Association, making a line item in the budget, which was kind of interesting.
For more funding. Because I think, I didn't research the amount, but the Rose Float has already gotten funding from the city.
Yeah.
And that kind of set a precedent because then you started getting other organizations approach the city for funding. The Downey Symphony was one of them. They say, hey, the city gave out money to the Rose Float. We're a nonprofit. We do good work.
Yeah.
Why we want part of the action.
It's valid. And that's why you have to be careful. You go down the slippery slope, and we were all trying to be, and I'm telling you, my council colleagues for the 8 years, we were all very conscious of that. We all wanted to give away some money that we could, and we all had our favorite nonprofits. But if you give to one, you got to consider the merits of everyone.
Right.
So it is a slippery slope. Well, look at the fees right now.
Yeah.
So you just talked. So they gave away, or I don't. They were. It was up on there to vote on it to waive the fees for LA Pride, for LA Kata.
For Downey Pride.
For Downey Pride.
Right.
But it was for LA. For LA Kata.
Yes.
Had asked for $25,000, and instead of doing that, they said they'll look at waiving the fees. But it came out to $18,000. So you got $18,000, which included like 4 police officers' times and all these other things. So the big group that's forming on Saturday, July 1st, Calvary Chapel, Downey, is hosting the fireworks extravaganza and a whole family day, right? So it was going to be. So they're kind of came to the council saying, "Wait a second, you're going to waive $18,000 for Downey Pride. We're spending tens of thousands of dollars here to do this free fireworks for the community." And you want to charge us fees. So their fees was a little bit less, was like $5,000. Okay. So, but that's the problem. So now here's $20,000, and then where's the next group? I would ask for the money.
Of course,
the fees
the Christmas parade.
Yeah.
And then you got the street fair, and there's so many events happening here. It's gonna be one after another. How do you say yes to one and no to another?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's an issue, and that's a slippery slope. So then I don't know how they're going to get the toothpaste back in, but the council has an issue because it's valid.
And now if they're going to consider giving more money to the Rose Float, it's continuing this issue because now there's so many worthwhile organizations in Downey that are doing good work besides the Rose Float. And the Rose Float, they do tremendous work. This isn't anything about them
we
specifically.
love it. It's a free advertisement for the city, and talk about pride, how the pride that we see watching them go down the parade.
Of course.
It's amazing.
And now what I'm going to argue is, okay, Rose Float does great work. When I was president of Gangs of Downey, you guys don't think that keeping kids out of gangs is important?
Right.
I would argue that could be more important.
Right.
We want some money too.
How about the ARC? What the ARC does on here for our special needs friends and so forth. How about what the YMCA does and is going to do? So
the YMCA needs money right now.
So,
and so you have money for them, but no money for us.
Yeah.
it's I don't know. How do you justify it? You can't.
I know. So it's a slippery slope. That's why the best thing to do is to be careful when you do the first one.
And I think what bugs me too is, it's, I don't want to say it's a city full of cliques here in Downey. It's who you know. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of friendships, and I think sometimes people take advantage of that. And that's always been my biggest kind of pet peeve about Downey in general. I have a couple of them, but my biggest pet peeve is that it's very like cliquish. You gotta be with the in crowd. There's like 111,000 people here in Downey. It's sometimes, and we're as a city, we're giving awards to the same people. We're just rotating people. Go to a city council meeting. There's awards to the same people, the same 10, 12, 15 people. It's rotating. You can call the award whatever it is. Depending on who the mayor is, they're going to call the award the same thing. But you're just rotating people, and it gets kind of tiresome.
In the last 2 months, there's been some of the mayor's legacy, and I'm not putting down the mayor or the recipients on there, but 2 of the mayor's legacy people are some of the same people that I gave the same awards on there. Had the Diaconia Award on there before. The Mathises on there, I gave them the award back in 2009. And I looked at them, I'm like, great, they're very deserving, of course, but it's kind of interesting.
But there's a lot of people here.
So, and sometimes there's no institutional knowledge from that. I mean, this council, again, they're doing their best on there, but there's no institutional knowledge. And then with the staff turnover so big, there's no institutional knowledge. So some of those things, sometimes I want to reach out to them, but I don't want to be a pest to them.
Sure.
But I want to reach out and go, hey, did you know this and that? But I'm here. If they want to talk I'm here. But, I don't want to step on anybody's toes or feel like I'm impeding our guests out, because they're all trying really hard to do the right things.
We'll see.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that's it from the council meeting and so forth. By the way, so at the chamber lunch, I was honored. I sat with Financial Partners Credit Union.
I saw you.
And
You were towards the front. I was towards the back.
So Financial Partner, I'm on their board too, but I proudly serve on their board. But they're our sponsor, okay? And we've been now a year and a half. And, we looked at the numbers the other day, and we want to thank everybody.
Yeah.
There's about 60,000 impressions on Talking Downey with Mario and Downey, Mario and Eric. Talking Downey with Mario. See, you got me all tired now.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's pretty cool. But we couldn't have done it without Financial Partners. They've been here for 85 years. They did get an award today from the Chamber for longevity, I think for 40 years being a member of the Chamber and so forth.
And there is a story in the Downey Patriot. It's online right now. They were part of a PBS series called Opportunity Knocks.
Yes.
And it's a good show. It's on the PBS website. And it won an award. It won a Telly Award for the best reality television program. Yeah. And so I never thought of, Financial Partners as being as a reality show.
Yeah.
But, it's not that type of show. But
it is a PBS show. It's that basically they took and they helped this couple that couldn't finance a house. And it was almost about them searching for something. And they went to this particular loan manager that really walked them through. I sat next to her today.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
How they took advantage of the Financial Partners, and I think it was just not guiding them. But PBS picked 3 different couples in 3 different situations, and one of them was Financial Partners. And that particular situation, they won an award. So good for them.
Yeah, I know we talked about Financial Partners a lot because they're our sponsor, but also because they do good stuff. At the luncheon, Nodder's the CEO. He was talking about to the Columbia Space Center.
Yes, sir.
And the plans for the future. And we've spoken about this, but there's plans to expand it, remodel it, and kind of take it into the future. So that's exciting.
I'm excited about that. We own the full-scale mock-up of the space shuttle. It's called the Inspiration. We, the city of Downey, and you and I own it also because we're part of this community. So it is to build a new building. We need more space. It's to be interactive displays. It's more for the field trips to go there and have a big meeting place. So there's all kinds of opportunities there.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. I'm part of that too in a small way, and that's always been my passion, if you will. So, but anyways.
Good stuff.
Okay. Well, listen,
Yeah.
we'll make this a shorter meeting on there and a shorter meeting. But this isn't a meeting. Dude, so we're really tired this afternoon,
are,
right?
we
We're both
are.
going. It's like,
This luncheon, it took a lot of my energy.
Yeah.
It was going really well, but then
yeah, we normally do this on Thursday mornings, right? And we tape 2 back-to-back shows. So we decided, because we were all busy, to do it on Thursday afternoon instead of that. So we just came back from this lunch, and you know how it is after. And did you eat the cheesecake?
I did.
I ate the cheesecake.
Oh, I
yeah.
shouldn't say it.
No,
It was
what?
it was kind of dense, but they're
It
always
was
dense.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's banquet food. I mean, I get that. I'm not blaming them on there.
Did you have
But
the chicken?
I did. The chicken wasn't bad. It was pretty moist. Or no, you didn't like that either?
Maybe I got a bad plate. I don't know. I don't know.
You're trying to be nice
I'm
now.
trying to be nice,
To the
yeah.
Embassy Suites. They did a nice job of.
But it's
Oh my
it's
God.
a beautiful room.
It is a beautiful room.
It was beautiful
on there.
weather too.
You know, yeah. I have an aversion to that room on there. That was the room where I had my reception party for my Senate election. So,
yeah.
you know, once you lose an election like that on there, you go back in there, you get the
Yeah.
heebie-jeebies on there, and I'd smoke cigars out there. But anyway,
And you know what? So no, sorry. Before we go, before we wrap up, so we were in the banquet room, and now my table kind of goes out onto the patio. So I walked onto the patio, get some fresh air, and I had a really good line of sight across Firestone to Ojos Locos. The signage is up now.
yeah.
So if you drive on Firestone past the
Yeah.
old Denny's, where it's Ojos Locos, it's the sign is up.
It's there.
It's almost there.
Ojos
It makes
Locos,
it real. It makes
Mexican
it real.
cantina or something it says, right? Or what was
Yes,
it? Yeah.
I forgot what it says.
Yeah, something cantina though.
Right,
Yeah.
but it's coming along bright. It's right there, and it's
not bad.
coming.
Like it's here.
It's not bad looking.
So
The
no,
signage is not bad
no.
looking.
So Eric, so what do you think? We shouldn't tell our listeners and our viewers on there, but we should go check it out when they get built out, and then we'll make a report on it. to everybody,
Absolutely.
right?
No, we have to be fair.
Yes,
we
yes,
have to
we
be
are.
fair. Look, whether you like it or not, they're coming.
They're here.
So
The
they're
building
here.
is up.
The building's here. I do want to check it out. I've told you privately, you know, they have a casino in Vegas. I want to go check it out.
Oh, really? I
They
didn't know
do.
that.
They have a casino.
I forgot about that.
But this restaurant, we have to give them a chance
Yeah.
and see how
Eric,
it goes.
we should wear masks in there. We're gonna get beat up by if anybody sees us going in
But,
there
okay.
like we're perverts or something.
But you know what? So I'm not going to say any names, but there's other establishments in Downey where the staff dresses, I think, worse.
Yes.
And they go under the radar.
Yes.
But it's worse.
Yes. Some of it is because it's who you know too. You said that whole Clickus thing.
Yeah.
On there, there's things on there, but yeah, you know that's interesting because that dress code ordinance did pass. I don't know how it's being enforced, but we'll see. It's going to be kind of interesting when it goes up.
Yeah.
And anyway, so
We'll judge it by the food
Yeah.
and by the drinks
Yeah.
and the ambience and the staff. And
Yeah.
we'll see.
I saw on the Patriots and the Downey Beat the Downey Beat shared the Facebook of the Downey Patriot. Anyways, and it seems like there's 250 comments or
Yeah.
all these people, and some of the people were talking like we did, like, okay, we'll see.
Right.
And some of the people were like, you know, the comment was about the city's anti-pod, but for this,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's a fair, fair analogy and so forth. But it was like almost 50-50. And some
Yeah.
people were like, hey, what's the big deal? So
Right.
I think it's going to be kind of interesting.
And I think they're going to be crowded. We've talked about this, but they're going to be crowded,
Yeah,
I think.
it's on fire. So all these new businesses that come in, they all seem to be doing well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, by the way, we're not comparing, so we're not putting them in the same league. But Morisco's Choi, just down the street on there, good local
Mm-hmm.
young men that own it on there. They rebuilt. It's a beautiful place. We should go do
Yeah.
a show from there. That's packed now, and I love walking over there and get food. So
Yeah.
they've remodeled it from 4 tables to 40, and it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
You know, there's that nice new fancy place, Diosa. You know, on here, of course, you got Ola, and you got the Bella
Lounge.
at the end. Yeah, I haven't been in there.
Mambo Grill. Check out Mambo Grill. They're under new ownership.
Yeah.
Food's good.
Yeah.
It seemed like they've gone from like a bar type to a food place, a restaurant.
I haven't been there.
At
since
least
that.
we should check it
Yeah,
out. At least like in the daytime. I haven't been there at night.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
good. It's
Is
good.
Joseph's open for lunch? I haven't been in there in a long
don't
time
think
either,
so,
I
no.
don't think so either.
No.
But yeah, so the downtown, there's some restaurants happening. Okay,
Yeah.
So we're getting distracted here because we started talking about food. But yeah, Ojos Locos, stay tuned for that. We'll do an episode from it. So anyways, listen, we welcome your comments and your thoughts. We have a whole list of shows that we want to do and topics. Today, 2 days after the council, we try to review the city council and just to talk, openly like this, like we're doing here, and giving our thoughts from both of us being local guys, and Eric having I'd like to see his emails sometimes because, once in a while he'll share something with me or tell me something, but he gets emails as the editor of the Patriot, people ticked off at everything and then people commenting on there. So you have an interesting email thing. I get, stuff about talking to the council, or this didn't happen during your time, or it did happen during your time. So we have an interesting perspective. So I kind of like where we're coming from. So, but we'd love to hear from you. What are you looking for? What are your thoughts? And just your commentary on this. Yeah. Oh, one last thing. This is really weird. Oh my gosh, at the end, I'm listening to the council meeting, kind of doing my homework for this, and you can watch it on video. This was a little bit longer one because they had 2 public hearings. So during the public comment, somebody goes up, and it got my attention. I'm listening to it and kind of working away like this. And somebody says, on the corner of Firestone and Paramount Boulevard, on the southeast corner, there's a power box there with kids playing in water on there, and it says embracing change. And it got down there that power box my family had endorsed and supported. And Embracing Change is the name of our book, and I think it's right here too, Embracing Change. So that's what we put on the hashtag on there. But this person was mad. It says, the Book of Solomon, and in Proverbs 21 through 24, it says that, we should not embrace change. And it just caught me off guard. I had to go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
Somebody's commenting on the hashtag on a power box,
right.
And based on biblical scriptures. I just thought that was bizarre, but interesting.
And, funny that he felt so strongly that he went to the city council meeting to comment.
Yes.
Wow.
I haven't looked up the scripture yet, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
I thought I'd end it on an interesting but quirky little note. So,
how funny.
Anyways, listen, we want to thank again Financial Partners. Please listen to us and talk to us and share with us and give us your comments. So thank you for listening and for watching Talking Downey with Mario
and Eric.